Ondo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has criticized the state governor, Aiyedatiwa, over the approval of 73,000 naira minimum wage to the state civil servants. Aiyedatiwa on Saturday, at the kickoff of his campaign ahead of the November 16 governorship election, announced the approval of the minimum wage to workers, but the opposition party alleged that the governor was insincere over the amount. In a statement issued by the special advisor on media and publicity of the PDP campaign organization, Aiyedatiwa, on Sunday, described the governor's gesture as a mere Greek gift to cajole the workers to vote for him in the forthcoming poll. The PDP also described Aiyedatiwa's administration as a failure to the people of the state and was seeking ways to cajole the workers, saying he should have increased the workers' salary before the present time. The statement read, "We notice with amusement Governor Aiyedatiwa's decision to raise the minimum wage in Ondo State from the federal government approved 70,000 naira to a paltry 73,000 naira. This is obviously a hollow pretense that is calculated to present him as a workers-friendly governor, an assumption which falls flat on his face when due cognizance is taken of his failure to do this increment many months back. The fact that he's just using this now is a mere pretense. In a brazen display of desperation, this marginal wage increment serves as a flimsy attempt to curry favor with the electorate, masking his administration's colossal failures across every critical sector. It is a move that reeks of calculated deceit, aimed not at alleviating the suffering of the people, but at securing their votes through shallow tokenism." The statement argued that if Aiyedatiwa was a leader who genuinely cared about the welfare of his people, he would have since addressed the root causes of Ondo State's challenges: poverty, unemployment, and the decay of essential services. It added, his administration has been defined by neglect, indifference, and a stark lack of empathy for the plight of the common man. Rather than champion sustainable development and meaningful progress, he has opted to dangle this meager wage increase as a political carrot, a last-ditch effort to manipulate and hoodwink the electorate in pursuit of his selfish political survival. Reacting, the senior special assistant to the governor on strategic communications, Alan Shawore, said the allegation by the PDP was baseless and showed that the opposition party was ignorant of the performance of the current administration. The first thing to understand is that the minimum wage is a law, an act of the National Assembly that must be implemented by all the governors in Nigeria. What Governor Aiyedatiwa has done is simply add an extra 3,000 naira to the minimum wage, which is commendable. As for the timing, it's important to know that anything worth doing is worth doing right away. The Ondo State government had already set up a tripartite committee to work out the consequential adjustments from level 1 to level 17, and this process has been ongoing for some time. However, the opposition pretends as if all of this is happening just now. It is clear that the PDP has run out of ideas. Recently, they've resorted to inaccurate reports, blackmail, and propaganda. Governor Aiyedatiwa has consistently prioritized the welfare of the state workers since assuming office. In Ondo State, salaries are paid promptly and even pensioners are not neglected. Nze, you are a politician. What do you have to say? The addition of extra 3,000 naira to the 70,000 naira minimum wage as passed into law by the National Assembly. Do you think it has a political undertone?
Whether it has political undertone or not, it is left for the person who has dangled that carrot. But you see, I disagree with PDP on this matter because I see it as a mere propaganda. Because when you try to paint every action of your opponent black, just to make a cheap impression and all that, I don't agree with that. You see that merely increasing the minimum wage or agreeing to pay the minimum wage does not give anybody victory in Nigeria. We've seen that in the case of Ondo State, where even the governor, at the mention of 70,000, he said he will pay. Even when it has not reached 70,000, he said he will pay. and yet he was paying, and yet he lost the election. So if that is what Aiyedatiwa wants to do, it is still very much possible that he can lose the election, because you are dealing with rational minds. Every leader's action revolves around intelligence. So you don't just do that for doing sake. But I think that if Aiyedatiwa had agreed to pay even above what the agreed amount was, which is now 70,000, but he has said he will pay 73,000. I think it is to the benefit and betterment of people of Ondo State. So he should be clapped for. Right. But unfortunately, he will be paying this just for 1 or 2 months, and he'll be out of office. So
the burden
will now lie
if
on
he
the
wins,
incoming.
He's coming for re-election.
If he wins, he continues. We are all here in Nigeria. We'll see how he continues. Then if he fails, then he will be leaving the burden for the incoming government. But whichever way, it is to the betterment of Edo people and Ondo State people. So for the PDP to come to say, no, he's doing this just to curry favor. Now, what do you want before? I have said it over and over again. Let those who have been elected into power to govern the people curry favor of the people. How do you do that? Please, give these people what they want.
All right.
And you know Nigerians are not asking for much. I've not seen Nigerians coming to say, state government or federal government build houses for us, where even the normal pipe-borne water that is supposed to be our right is not giving us. We are now sinking boreholes here and there. And you see in some states, some people will even come to say you pay tax for the borehole you sink in your compound. When they fail to provide us pipe-borne water, we now provide one for us. They'll come to take tax and all that. But in as much as the governor of Ondo State have come to say, I will pay 73,000. Let him pay so that we'll see. Let the Edo people, even though 73,000 in Nigeria is nothing, right. Yes, considering the economic situation and the inflation that we are passing through now. But for the PDP to come and condemn that action and all that, no, I don't agree with them. It's just a mere propaganda.
All right. Chief Jackson, what do you have to say to this?
I think this one is better than sharing t-shirt to impress people. Sharing rice, gari, eating corn along the street with the people to convince people. I think this one is better. But then, if he failed to win this election, what is the capacity of the government of Ondo State? What is the workforce like in Ondo State? Is it tenable? Is it affordable? Can any other government in Ondo State afford to carry this and effect it? It happened in my state, Osun State, when Aiyedatiwa was coming for second tenure. He increased workers' salary. He employed over 3,000 boys, called them internal security boys and others. At the end of the day, he started borrowing money in order to make sure he paid this thing. When he won the second tenure, he started paying some people are earning 25% of their salary monthly. He did that for the second 4 years because ab initio, Osun State was not as rich as to pay all those things. It happened in River State, where over 200,000 people were employed as special advisor to the governor. Immediately the governor left, what happened? Are they still there? No. Most of these people will just do this one to cajole people. If they use it to cajole people in the positive, it's okay, but it's still affordable. That's why I'm bringing this issue of Osun State. At a particular state, some level of civil servant were not even being paid. They tell them to hold on. They will pay this one this month, pay 25%. Next month, they won't earn anything. Another category will earn 25%. Just because you lure the people of the state, you did all those things to want to convince people. To me, I think it's a projectional vote buying that they are trying to do there. Honestly.
To sway the sentiments of
exactly
to their own favor.
That is it. But then, whichever way we put it, if the state can afford to pay. I hope it won't bring about retrenchment of people. I hope
at a later date.
At a later day. I hope it won't bring about some people taking some percentages. I hope the state will be able to swim to the destination with this kind of Greek gift. I mean that because if the father that is feeding all of them could not pay more than 70% and they were hooked on the neck by the labor before they even agreed 70,000, and that is where all of them are going hand in cap every month to go and collect statutory allocation. If the federal government cannot afford more than 70,000, this man is proposing 73,000. Yeah, he has done what the federal government could not do. I wish him every best.
All right. Nze, if I may ask now, he raised the points, and I was trying to do the maths in my head. Let's just assume probably they have up to 300 or 500,000 civil servants, and you multiply 3,000 naira by 500,000. Like it or yes, that's a lot. That's a lot. But then when you also consider the amount of monies EFCC hound these governors after they are done with their tenure, one would say they should be able to pay these monies. So now, are we looking at, like both you and Nze has raised as a concern, continuity of payment of this, or a situation where even if he doesn't win or he wins at a much later date, he is unable to pay, or there will be gross retrenchment much later? How do you see this playing out, considering the increased FAC allocation? Because the truth remains that the budget of states right now, I mean, compared to the past, is higher, and they are getting higher as well. They are earning more. So it's expected that they should beef up, you know, the welfare of their citizens. What do you have to say to that, Nze?
The problem we have with our leaders is that we've not had leaders who are ready to make sacrifices. We have leaders who want the people to live out of the crumb that falls from their table. You see, to a very large extent, if the government of Ondo State today wants to be truthful, adding 3,000 naira to 70,000 naira won't be any big deal, because you need to see what the government or the governors spend on their private and personal affairs, and you begin to wonder if you can spend such huge sums on your personal interest, things that concerns you, and when it concerns the people, you begin to apply economy and all that. I don't see that as being good. But if the government of Ondo State have looked into their revenue, the FAC, the money they generate in their state, and they believe that this money can solve this problem, I even advise to increase the money, because 73,000 is nothing. Yes, and when they are doing, let other states as well. Like River State, I expect River State to pay up to 90,000 or 100,000, honestly, because this state is rich. Yes, and the governor have come to tell us that even the IGR they are generating now is too high. So, and the FAC is getting high. Let them pay people well, and let them use other money. That thank God that the local government have gotten autonomy too. Now money will be coming directly to the local government. Let them use all these things to better the lives of Nigerians, because we didn't commit any crime to be born into this country. The leaders of this country should help us, and if they cannot handle this matter, let them step aside and let people like us come in there. Yes, who can live? Because if I become a governor, I will live in the house I'm already living now and govern the state.
All right, Nze.
And when I finish, the state can decide to build me a house if they so wish.
Okay, Nze.
If they don't, then they go with it.
All right, you have publicly declared your intention to run for election in 2027.
Yes, if the INEC can reduce to
For what position exactly?
Governorship for that matter.
I wish you every best. I will support
honestly, if INEC can agree to bring down political parties to bring down their forms and all that. You know, let me say this. I intended to run for 2023 presidential election. Yes, I intended, but the political party I went to said that I must pay 15 million naira. If I pay 15 million naira as my nomination form, then I will pay 3 million naira as a declaration of intent. And I say, okay, no, if I will pay such amount, then you should remove issue of what's it called, primary election, and let me be the sole candidate. And he said no, that I'll pay all these things and stay content. And at the end of the day, it was the national chairman who refused me that later became the presidential candidate. All
right, interesting. Jackson, why are you laughing? You wish him the best, and at the same time, you're shocked.
I wish him the best.
All right.
I believe that if Jackson is from my constituency, he will vote for me.
Definitely, I will vote for you.
And I know that there are many people, even though Laurentia will not vote, but there are many people that will vote for me.
Laurentia will be in the studio.
All right, Jackson, what do you also have to say, your final take on this before we... Now, they said that the 73,000 naira in reality may not even do much considering the current economic reality in the country. So now, when we look at what is being paid as minimum wage, the current economic reality, and the body language of our leaders, one would wonder, it's not even like it's going to get better. It doesn't look like it's getting better. Considering as well, in fact, as at the time the 70,000 naira minimum wage was agreed, PMS was lower than what it is right now. Now, with the price of PMS increasing, there is still going to be more inflation, and the purchasing power of Nigerians will be further reduced. So when you look at this, as much as the fact that probably right now civil servants in Ondo State might be rejoicing, but it will be a kind of mixed emotion, because even at the end of the day, your salary is lower than a bag of rice in Nigeria.
Everybody must not eat rice.
Your salary is lower. Locally, see the problem. It would have been different or made a lot of sense if it is foreign rice. We say, okay, importation and all of that, custom duties and all that. Locally grown rice in the next state, probably 4 hours away from your state, you have to, your salary is lower than what is called a staple food in the country. Your salary can only buy 3 basins of garri. 3 basins of garri. Well, your salary cannot even afford you bread for 1 month. We can go on and on and on, because a loaf of bread right now is about 1,600.
2,000.
I want to...
Oh, 2,000, all right. Go on, Jackson.
I'm too anxious to want to come in quickly.
Okay, go on.
You see, the people we call leaders, they are our enemies. Or we are their enemies. I read so many books. I read a book whereby he advised you not to empower your enemy. And another one said, if you know the source of the root of your enemy's plant that shade his head, go and cut the root. And these people are seeing us as enemies. So how do you think they want anything good for us? My father told me one story when I was just like 11 years. He said in the olden days, they were using calabash or clay pot to fetch water. So at a particular time, the white people came and they will bring iron bucket that you people should no longer be going to the farm to fetch water with calabash and others. Take iron bucket, but before you take that iron bucket, they will collect your gold. And people were very happy, jubilating. The iron bucket, the cost of the iron bucket is now up to 0.01% of the gold they are taking from you. But you believe these white men has come to collect gold from you, to help you resolve the issue of if you are coming from where this thing, any small thing can happen, the calabash will fall, the water will break. Maybe you have only one calabash. But at the end of the day, much later, they realize that the white people have come to deceive them. They use the 70,000 naira to cajole the people, the labor. And I listened to Aiyedatiwa sometimes ago that he said part of the condition was that in the nearest future, the price of petroleum should not be increased so that the money will become meaningful. But they have collected gold from them to give them bucket. And that is what they are facing today. And part of these leaders is one man that is supposed to be the head of the National Assembly, the lawmaker. During the protest, even when the executive were trying to persuade or to dissuade people from that protest, you understand, he came out public and he said, let them go and protest. We'll be here, we'll be eating. And that is one of the leaders that you thought they mean well for the workers. They see workers as slaves. They didn't see workers as colleagues in the service of the fatherland, service to the fatherland. They see workers as slaves. They see workers, they didn't want anybody that would, one way or the other, to compete with them. We serve their fathers. They want our children to come and serve them. We are still passing through this. The labor is threatening that if they didn't reverse the price of fuel, they will go into nationwide protest. The number 3 citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is in place of administration has to come out on the plenary to say, my advice to Nigerians is that they should go to see where they can get free food. That statement is callous, is satanic, is luciferic, is demonic, is reckless, is insultive, is demeaning of the people of this country. It is a direct statement that shows that you hate the populace. And that is the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that has oversight function over the executive. This is a Senate and the chairman of the National Assembly that should be able to look at, they know what the federal government income is. Federal government cannot spend 10 kobo without their appropriation. These are the people that should be able to, and these are the direct representatives of the people. Whom do you call senators? They are the proxy to the people. We send them there to go and protest our interest. They are the people we know. These are the people that should sit down and call the executive that say, you can afford to give these people 150,000 naira. But the chairman of the National Assembly is the one that's saying the only advice is that people to go and get free food. Where do you get free food? Free food means when you are passing by and you see bread seller, manipulate and collect the bread and run. When you are passing by, you see cow breeder, chase them away, carry cow. Free food means you go to Jackson Lake or George Fish Farm and collect fish for yourself. Free food means you go to any farmland to harvest their farm produce, those are free foods. You are now advising that Nigerians should not have hope again and they should take to self-help. That means you can go to a restaurant and immediately they serve you food before you pay. You run away. Those are what I know as free food. You look at it. So if we have the number 3 citizen, the head of the National Assembly, saying all these things, where is the hope? We hopefully, sometimes ago, 2023, we hopefully went out to vote for hopelessness. And that is what we are facing today. The Senate President is telling us that there is no hope. We should go for self-help. Anywhere in the world, self-help is always coming with anarchy. Breaking down of law and orders is a pity. And I sympathize with Mr. President. This Senate President is further discrediting, attracting more anger to his administration. But good luck to him, because he supported the emergence of Akpabio to become the Senate President. Good luck to Nigeria. If we help ourselves, God will help us.
All right. Nze, what do you have to say as we round up the show?
You know, Jackson rightly said, and I want to join force with him to say that Nigerians hopefully voted for hopelessness. So it is what we imported that we are enjoying.
Yes.
Yes, Nigerians voted APC and they are enjoying the outcome of APC administration. You see, the man Akpabio is like it's like there are people who are always lying in wait. You know, as a man that freely talks, he runs mouth. So these people seem know that he will soon speak. So they are waiting, and he will vomit. He will say, "You speak nonsense." I said it in this very studio sometime last year that Akpabio's emergence as Senate President is not acceptable by me. It is not acceptable, and that Akpabio will not do well. In as much as by God's grace he's handling and keeping his likes. But you see that from the utterances that come from this man, you see that he seems not to have think before he speak. How will you say that Nigerians should look for where there is free food? Oga, you are in that place representing us, even though you didn't contest the election, but you have been declared winner. That is what we are seeing. Him and Ahmed Lawan, they didn't contest, but they are in the Senate, and today he's the head of the. So I begin to wonder what we'll get out of these people. So I know that APC has nothing to offer. Tinubu himself has nothing to offer us. In fact, he's bereft of idea. That is why people who are around him can speak anyhow. You see, he's on Anoga coming to say that the president has freedom to fly to wherever he likes. That he's on leave. So he has freedom to fly and feel and enjoy himself.
In our aircraft.
We have what it takes to pay prices and persevere. You know, like Olureni Tunu will come and say Nigerians, in fact, Nigeria, we understand what you are going through, but suggesting that we should go through mental check. You can imagine such nonsense, such aberration from these so-called people who are in government. So I don't have hope in APC. I am just trusting that God will help us to survive these 4 years. Then if at the end of the 4 years, Nigerians will allow both INEC, both the corrupt judiciary to do to us what they did in 2023, well, so be it.
Right.